a vacationer's paradise. And yet this region was once a stronghold for outcasts, thieves,
and politicians.
a savage race that vanished hundreds of years ago. But what if there were survivors? And what if they kept their existence a secret from the outside world? What if someone found out? The island, where civilization as we know it has taken a bizarre turn.
Who are you? I mean, all of you. Are you some kind of religious cult?
The soul of Detroit.
You asked it around, get the country around my tooth. It's gone.
What are you doing? Come on.
That is not paid for by them. That is paid for by the people of Detroit.
You might be qualified, ML.
I'm not qualified for this job.
Let me tell you something. You want to go right now? Okay? You want to go right now?
Hello, boys and girls. It's not your old pal ML Elric. It's just Marc and Shawn. We do have a special guest sitting in, and we will check in with Elric in a little bit, who is out of town, but he's still checking in. Still put in a lot of hard work this week, just like Shawn did. Good morning, Shawn.
You mean for the podcast,
Why
or for
aren't
the
you
free,
saying anything?
or for the free press?
For the podcast.
No. I'm still in shock because we were talking to Mike, before we started recording here, and that's, ML or whatever it was. What did he want us to call him? Can't even repeat that, can we, Marc?
I think he said King Dick.
Okay.
I think that is a literal quote.
I think that is a little quote. No. I'm shocked at the creativity and originality in his lead in this column. He was bragging about how, maybe not bragging, but talking about how he started out with the personal pronoun I. And that's fine, but what I was stunned by is that he made a Godfather reference, and I just thought that was so original.
That's a movie from the 70s, so he's seen it.
You know what I mean?
It's not on any lists or anything for greatest movies.
No. Nobody's ever said, just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. I've never seen that before, and I thought that was awesome that he did that.
Somebody made a Fredo joke, and I was like, wow, how brilliant.
Exactly.
Never heard that joke about a kind of a loser brother or something.
Just don't say that to Cuomo,
Crazy.
Chris Cuomo,
Okay.
because then he'll want to punch you.
I'm looking at ML right now. This is weird. Where is he?
He is up at one place I would never want to be, but I guess that's his job to be up at Mackinac for, what is the official name of the shindig that's
boring.
going?
Oh my God, does that sound boring?
It's his job, though.
He gets to ride a bike. He loves to ride bikes. You don't have to pay for anything, right?
I don't mind that part. It's the conference that just sounds so boring.
But there's no fuel tank on a bike, so he's good.
The conference does sound horribly boring.
I'd be in tears if I was there.
Before we get to him, though, I do want to welcome in. We actually have a new sponsor on this show. It's the Irish Coffee Bar and Grill. The Irish Coffee Bar and Grill. If you've ever been to the East Side, you already know they have the best burgers in town. See, now I'm going to get hungry right off the bat. Located on Mack Avenue in Grosse Pointe, Irish Coffee is serving up those delicious ground rounds for just $5 on Mondays from 5 to 11 p.m. God, you can't get a good burger for less than $5. So $5 on Monday, 5 to 11. They also have Sloppy Joe's on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And whenever you go, you'll find great food and great vibes at a classic Irish pub run by a Kennedy. So there you go. What could be more Irish than that? And if you see ML there, be sure to ask him for onion rings because he loves to share, but he'll probably want you to buy instead.
He might pick up the ketchup.
Yeah. How you doing, ML? You there?
Every time I think I'm out, they pull me back in.
There's the quote. There you go.
And I will say that was from the least seen Godfather movie, so it's somewhat clever, but not really especially clever.
So you're up
Which
in
brings us to Shawn Windsor.
So you're up in Mackinac for what is the official title of this bacchanal?
Boring.
Yeah, I think it's something like the Detroit Regional Chamber. And as you can see, there's a Grand Hotel right there. The Free Press spares no accommodations. I'm right next door to the great place itself. But it's like the something or other in policy conference. And there's all these people on the agenda. Mark Cuban's going to be here.
Really?
The governor's here. The mayor's here.
So your
Everybody
peers.
who's running for anything is here.
Your peers.
But really I wouldn't say my peers. I'd say, I think I'm a notch above politicians.
So what Becky got to do's up there?
Yeah.
So the whole thing is none of the shit on the agenda matters. It's everything that happens behind the scenes. It's what happens in the side rooms. It's all the meetings and all the fundraising and all the arm bending. That's why we go up there, is to try and see some of that. And yes, I return to my newspaper roots, and I get to ride a bike all over the place. So that's how I started in this business.
I find it very ironic that it's called a policy thing, because I don't think they're really working on any policy. I think they're working on maybe the next step in getting elected. Am I being way too cynical there?
No, that's true. In fact, when I came up here as a candidate, I was up here to try and raise some money and make some connections and win some endorsements. And I don't think I went to any of the sessions or any of that stuff. It was all about meeting people. And if you couldn't get some time with them one-on-one here, you know, they come to this island for a couple reasons. One reason is they used to do it on basically a boat where they cruised around Lake St. Clair and the Detroit River, playing cards, drinking, and hooking up with hookers. And then Nicholas Hood II, who is the pastor at Plymouth Congregational Church, his dad was a major player in Detroit. And he went on and he said, as a pastor, I can't be riding on a boat with hose. So definitely not. This was pre-John C. Reilly.
Yeah, boats and hose.
So they changed it to this island where you really can't escape, which is great. And they've tried to make it more professional. It used to be held over a weekend, which involved a lot of drinking. And now that it's during the week, there's just a lot of drinking.
That's a great rundown. Mike, you know, I had a...
So dismissive.
No.
Here comes another rundown.
No, Mike, I've
and a letdown.
So Drew is sitting in the chair I normally sit in, and I'm sitting in the chair you normally sit in. And from Drew's vantage point, I would look at you all these years on my monitor, and I would just see, wow, you look great. You know, you look handsome. I look terrible over there, and I thought, okay, maybe it's the lighting. And now I'm sitting in here, and I'm looking at my reflection in the monitor, not reflection, but myself in the monitor, and no, it's not the lighting. I look even worse.
I know how you feel, Shawn.
I mean, all I see are big bags and 10 chins and no hair. And I mean, the hair I can't control, but
I always think everyone else's lighting is better than mine,
yeah.
Shawn. I always feel the same way.
Mike's just flat out better looking. And that's really what I'm learning sitting in this chair today, Mike.
So does everybody who's sitting in that chair have to put down Shawn Windsor? Is that the way it works? Because I was going to say we need a new chair, but maybe that one's working fine.
Yeah. Oh my God! By the way, Drew, I should. Can I tell you a quick story?
Sure.
It's not really.
There it is. Do you know about Sean's crutch, Drew?
Yeah,
I don't.
That's my crutch. That's my crutch.
I love it to death.
It's
but
a rhetorical question.
Before he ever says anything, he says, "Can I ask a question, or can I say?"
No, not everything. That's just usually a little segue. So. It's not really a story, by the way, Drew.
To make love to you, woman, and then the lovemaking commences.
or not.
Yeah.
I mean, right?
Go ahead,
Prepare to be pleasured.
Tell us the story.
It's not really a story, but so I wrote a column the other day, Drew, about Brad Holmes, the general manager of the Lions, and of course Dan Campbell, the head coach of the Lions, and their relationship and their kind of bromance. I get it done, I figure it out, and I start to file it to hit send, and it disappears on me. Oh. And I spend the next hour and a half, 2 hours in a just sweaty panic trying to find it, and I can't. Fortunately, it wasn't running the next day. It was running the day after, so there was a little bit of leg room. So the next day, Drew, I tried to reconjure it and spent half the day, and I could not because I knew what I'd written, but I couldn't remember word for word what I'd written, so it was getting in the way. I don't know if you've ever had that kind of experience in life where you have something out there, you can't quite get to it.
Yeah, oh yeah. Recorded things that were absolutely hilarious, like I'm trying to think of interviews, phone calls, and you're laughing hysterically, and then I see that the record light is not on.
I'll give you one. Darva Conger.
Oh, that's right.
We lost half an interview with Darva Conger.
The important Darva Conger, who was on Who Wants to Marry a Millionaire, and she was selected by Rick Rockwell, and we interviewed her, and she hung up on us.
Which was at that time, and it's silly to think about it now, isn't it? Like, we lost a Darva Conger interview, but at the time, nobody else had talked to her.
No, it was a funny interview too, so that was disturbing. I think we've lost worse, but yeah, I would think I would be able to reconjure something if I wrote it, though.
I can't. Maybe other people can. Maybe Mike can speak to this, but I could not. And I ended up writing another column. It was similar, but not the same. Actually, the second column was probably a little bit better. But I want you both to know, when I texted Mike and actually Carlos Monaro was my colleague at the Free Press, and I said, because they'd been kind of bagging on me a little bit lately on a text thread, I said, look, whatever y'all throw at me, I deserve. I just lost my column. I am an idiot. Mike's
so hard on yourself.
Mike's helpful message to me was maybe this system couldn't digest it.
It's that chair, man. We got to get rid of that chair.
You're always so helpful.
So I think I can top all of that.
Of course you can, because it's a competition.
Of course, that's right. Well, King Dick. But
just
Roger
make it about
Waters,
you. That's the most important thing.
Always.
I did real quickly. I did say in the text thread that they said, what's the column about? I said, it's actually about how I have befriended the local versions of Trump and DeSantis, Trump being Elric and DeSantis being Menarez, and how if we can all get along, then we can all get along, right? No.
You usually save unflattering comparisons like that for when I'm running for office. But thank you for.
No, I was just thinking of the sort of the narcissism on one side, and then just the resentful, angry trolling on the other with DeSantis. So it sort of made sense, no?
Okay, now to me. So my daughter was performing with some other kids with Roger Waters at Joe Louis Arena, and they were brought in as a local kids choir to sing the chorus for Another Brick in the Wall Part 2.
Cool.
And I was out there with a little digital handy cam that I recorded the rehearsal, which I wasn't supposed to do, and they told me not to. And I had my iPhone, and they said, you can only record the live performance. I said, okay. So we're going through the tunnel to come out, and I'm right in the front row, like closer than anybody. And I'm shooting this with my iPhone, which I'd never shot video with before. And I'm zooming in, and I got Roger standing on the stage, with his bass banging and the kids and everything. The lighting is beautiful. Everything is gorgeous. And then we go back into the tunnel, and I realized I had done basically the TV equivalent of a double punch where I had not actually activated the video. So I did not get any of it. And I can still see it in my mind, and it was fabulous. And it's
too bad no one else can see it.
Yeah, and that was horrible. And Roger Waters, for what it's worth, whatever his personality is like to others, I'm reading Inside Out.
Easygoing guy, Mason. Generally.
Yeah, not exactly warm and fuzzy. Apparently something happened to his dad in World War II, and he had some teachers he didn't like. I don't know. But it only led to like 9 albums. But anyway, he was super nice. He sent all the kids an autographed photo of himself, personalized to them. They were fed. They got these cool T-shirts. And when we were standing down in the bowels of Joe Louis Arena, he walked by and says, oh, look at all the kids with their moms and dads, and just waved and walked by, and was, in general, a very friendly type, even during the run-through up on stage. I have always admired him, and after that, I really, really liked him. I'm just glad I wasn't in a band with him. Or a podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that means more to me than a lot of the things that I've heard about him that are very negative. I mean, the fact that he would really care about people that, who it would mean a lot to, that he realizes how much it would mean to them and he responds to that's a great thing to hear about him.
As long as they're not Jewish.
Would we ever play him on this podcast?
No. But I think you're going to like today's song, which we will get to. I wanted to ask you, Shawn.
Well, I thought ML couldn't be on the show today. What happened?
He connected. He's here now.
He's always on the show.
No, I thought that you needed help because he couldn't participate.
Well, I didn't know.
Do you feel duped?
I do feel a little duped, yes.
He does have to go ride his bike in a little bit, so I did want you for room 7609.
Okay, will you?
I will
please?
come get you then.
Thank you.
Yes.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for teasing.
Yeah, thanks.
Drew,
I can tell how much fun you're having, Drew. Yeah.
No, I'm having fun. I feel unnecessary.
You can admit you were bored by ML's story.
No, it wasn't anything like that.
I mean, I was.
Oh my goodness!
I feel I'm intruding a bit. I
got
thought I
stuff to
was
do.
the third person, and I'm the fourth person. So
You're the first person.
No, I think I can go be the first person upstairs better than I can be the fourth or third
You
down
can
here.
smoke
That's all.
down here. It's all right.
No, I don't want to
his
smoke.
house.
No, I wouldn't smoke down here.
I will come grab you when it's time.
Okay.
I
Yes,
feel
I
a
know.
little duped. I think Drew is just trying to convert our massive YouTube subscriber base into a Drew and Mike
He
subscriber
is
base.
all about gathering YouTube followers right now. As are we. What's the YouTube channel, ML?
It's ML Soul of Detroit. We have a second hidden channel with 1.7 million subscribers. I can't tell you about that. But I would encourage everybody to subscribe to the Drew and Mike podcast YouTube channel because they actually have a lot more content than we do. And it's a lot of fun.
Do you think it would help if there were no camera on me during the YouTube portion of the show?
Oh, everybody loves watching you.
I was thinking kill the audio.
It's not. The voice is the one halfway decent thing I have. So
Well, stop beating yourself up. I wanted to ask you about a column you wrote about Jameson Williams, right?
Yes,
the
sir.
Lions wide receiver drafted out of Alabama, supposed to be the superstar.
that's football, Mike.
Yeah, I know. It's a safe bet. I knew that. I just didn't bet from our facility, which I know is against the rules.
Now, Shawn, am I just being regular old sports fan by claiming he's a bust and he's done and he's never going to amount to anything?
For a 22-year-old?
Yeah, because your article is about giving him time and, he realized his mistakes, which I believe you wrote it based off of he did a stand-up with a bunch of reporters.
No, I would have written that anyway. It was timely because he did do a stand-up with a bunch of reporters, and the Lions asked him to talk. He talked, and to his credit, he stood there for a while and didn't dodge any questions, and the tone was fine. So, and I know he doesn't like doing that. I was told that a lot of players don't like doing that. Let's be real, but no, I would have written that regardless of whether he talked. In fact, I did when it first broke. There are a few different things going on. You can think whatever you want about him as a human being and the gambling and all that thing. But as a player,
to me though, it's not just the gambling. It's that you should know better than that. You got to follow the rules.
No, that's what I mean. No, for sure. He said he didn't know, which was but that's on him too, right? Because the Lions clearly talked about this with their with every player there. I mean, right? They don't want to lose any players. It's not in their interest. But I would say when you're 22 and that's your biggest offense, yeah. I think he can overcome that. I think in some ways the social media stuff, liking the Lamar Jackson to Detroit is more problematic.
So does he get that? Does he understand that?
I don't know that he does, and that's what I wrote in my column. And I think this is true of a lot of young people. There's this weird conundrum with social media where it's public, but if you've grown up with it, you don't think it's public, even though you're connecting with other people. But it's the social part of the social media, right? You put less emphasis on the media part and more on the social. In other words, it's kind of like for a lot of young folks, it's like hanging out at a park in high school at a kegger or whatever. I don't know if you want to go back to the 70s to Mike's era, or you're just on a street corner somewhere, or you're at the mall in the 80s. That's social media to them. So it's sort of public, but it's also just a group of people hanging around shooting the crap, and you don't think of it. Jameson Williams didn't like that didn't hit that like button, thinking he was talking to a reporter from the New York Times, right?
But how does he not get that now?
Because he's not savvy enough at this point. I don't know if he ever will be.
We have
I don't know if he ever will be.
No, listen.
I see this with my own kids. You know what I mean? It's just
but your kids and my kids and Marc's kids don't have a team of people around them all the time saying, hey, be careful when you go out there. People are out to get you. You have to be careful what you do. They don't have nutritionists. They don't have coaches. They don't have advisors. They don't have tutors. If there's anybody who should know what the risks are, it's an elite athlete, because they are surrounded by a support system that's constantly telling them what to do, what not to do, what to be careful of. This could cost you money. I mean, these are the most sophisticated 22-year-old kids in the world, and for them to claim otherwise is ridiculous.
They're compensated as such.
You're messing up with the money and the fame. The brain chemistry doesn't change. To call Jameson Williams sophisticated, look, I'm not going to sit here and bag on a young guy like that who's got a long way from having that brain fully developed.
Yeah, but there's a long way.
I got a better chance of playing the first 8 games of the season than he does, so I'm not that sorry for him.
6. But no, I'm not feeling sorry for him at all. I'm just saying, if you're the Lions, of course you don't dismiss him. He's got talent, and he hasn't shown anything egregious.
He's also, for the Lions, a commodity that they, he's not sunk cost yet, but I feel like he's getting pretty close to it. And I don't know when they would cut bait on him.
No,
now would be too early, but he clearly, to me, right now, was not worth the draft pick.
He's a naive young fella who's got a lot to learn. We will see if he learns.
And to ML's point, look at all the athletes that don't make those mistakes on Twitter or social media. There's a lot that do, but a lot of them are
Edwards.
Ja Morant just cost himself, $30 million because Nike dropped his shoe because he couldn't help himself with Instagram. I don't know.
That's another guy that's not going to change.
I don't know. A lot of people change from their early 20s up into their 30s and 40s. And I mean, 40s is a little late for pro athletes, but you know what I mean? A lot of people do. My goodness.
Get the bell ready, Mark.
What were you like at 22?
Here's an analogy that I like to make at times like this. When Kwame Kilpatrick was screwing up, I talked to one of his advisors and I said, why aren't you guys helping this guy? What are you guys telling him? Why does he keep screwing up like this? You guys are smart. You know what's going on. And this person turned to me and said, it's not what we're telling him. It's what he's not listening to. He's doing what he wants to do. These guys do what they want to do. I think in large part because their whole lives they've been allowed to do what they want to do because they're incredibly talented. They're better and more special than us, and the rules don't apply to them. But guess what? Sometimes they do.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, it is just a like on Twitter. The gambling is a massive suspension. But he's not, he's not.
And if he does it again, it'll be gone for a year, maybe longer, right? That'll probably be it if he does that again. The social media part of it, he's got to grow up.
I wonder how many more.
We'll see if he can.
We already know the Athletics are reporting that there's another player that they're looking into on the Lions for violating the same thing. So is there going to be more and more and more? And why can they not learn this lesson that you got to play by the rules, the NFL rules, or else you're gone?
Well, no, you're right. I mean, they have to figure that out. They really do because it's so easy. Just a FanDuel app on your phone, right? You're sitting in the cafeteria taking a break, eating your lunch, and you pop onto your phone, and it's the same with getting on Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok, or whatever. And it's right there. It's constant. It's all the time. And I think there's lots of folks that don't. How many times do you see tweets in particular? Or even Instagram posts or whatever, that are just, you're like, I can't believe you posted that. Don't you understand? Just in general, don't you understand that's public? I mean, obviously, plenty of people, most people do, I would bet. And they understand exactly what they're doing. But there are a lot of people that aren't. I mean, I've watched it a lot when, Mike's saying our kids are different. I don't think they are. I really don't.
Yeah, you know what? I got to check in with my kids' tutor, nutritionist, position coach, whatever else they get. Yeah, no, they're different.
Now, another guy who I don't know if he had been in trouble with Twitter or bad tweets or whatever, but now he's making the waves, is former Spartan running back Le'Veon Bell, who gave an interview and admitted that he smoked weed or used marijuana before NFL games.
He used it all the time. How is that even news?
ML, that's kind of what I was thinking. I mean, you don't want your athletes high on weed, do you, when you're playing the game? I mean, it's not a performance enhancer.
I mean, I don't know. Robert Parrish used to have it sent by UPS to him on the road when he was playing for the Celtics because it helped him deal with his aches and pains, which I think
that's
probably
fine.
Not only that,
his performance,
anxiety too, right?
I remember Marc Stepnoski, really, the former Cowboys center, was the first guy too that was really out there saying, "Hey, this is way." And then we're talking mid-90s where he's like, this is way better than opioids or anything else for recovery. But to do it before the game was pretty wild. Looking into, I don't know Le'Veon Bell, but I was just.
I'm sorry.
Do we know whether it affected his performance? Because was this in some of his down years, or was this when he was a horse killing
Pro
everybody
Bowl? These were during his Pro Bowl years.
Season. Yeah, but look at how good he could have been.
What's the problem? I mean, I got no problem with weed if it chills you out and
what's going
helps
on,
you
Mark?
perform better. It's not one of these things that's going to make you go faster or make you stronger. It's a depressant. Mm-hmm. And if you're able to perform for your team at the expected levels on weed, and frankly, we got so many people on pharmaceuticals. Anybody who's getting shitty with somebody for smoking weed, I'm like, would you rather they take whatever Purdue Pharma's jamming down your throat? No, I'm sorry. Pass the Doochie on the left-hand side. I'm ready to go.
I get all that, but you know what? I would never partake before doing a broadcast. Now, it's a terrible example, just because your focus is off. And I would think your focus you have to pay a lot of attention if you're an NFL running back as to what are your protections, what are this, what are that. Could he handle it? Yeah, I mean, he was a Pro Bowler. But
I used to have a friend who, back in the college days, worked at a really, really busy restaurant. This is down in Texas. And he would sit and take 3 or 4 espressos and get high as shit and then go in and wait tables where you have to have balance. And that's how he would get through the shift. It got him into the right state.
I get that.
Everybody's got different chemistry. It was what we were talking about earlier. And yes, our kids are not different. How many times, Mike, did you say to your kids, don't do this, and then they did it? And how many times did you say, do this, and they did not? It doesn't matter that you have people when they're that age in their ear. They're young. My goodness.
Here's what I never told my kids. If you do this when I tell you not to, it will cost you millions of dollars.
It doesn't matter. You're equating money and acting like we can change evolution and human nature.
No, these kids have a massive support system around them.
No, they don't. He grew up dirt poor in East St. Louis. What are you talking about? I mean, not
what are you talking about? Don't you cover sports? Don't you see all these hangers on? This NIL now has brought even more money into it.
No, what I understand about this is exactly why I get it, because I'm around these people and they're no different. They just have money and sometimes a few extra people in their ear. But it's no different than a parent saying, just like you've experienced this, I have, Mark has, a parent saying to your kid, and it takes them a while to learn particular things. And it's in one of your kids is not like the other kid too, right? You might say to this kid, and they're like, okay, fine, they do it. The other one doesn't. And it's the same household with the same advice, more or less, right? It's just, I don't know if he's going to find his way or not. But I think it's too soon at 22. And as far as dope, I'm with you, Mike. Yeah. If it gets you to a Pro Bowl, why not?
Would you?
How about we never draft anybody named Williams who catches footballs in the first round at the Lions? How about that?
Well, there you go.
Remember Mike Williams, who took a year off and then went from tight end to basically a lineman, but still thought he was a tight end.
Yeah, and by the way, Mike, you might be right. It might be would you say a sunk cost?
Oh yeah,
I think that was Marc.
Yeah. Yeah, where you...
Oh, sorry.
Don't keep chasing bad money just because you spent the bad money, And in the NFL, it's, it'll hurt your cap, but you can get rid of people. They do it all the time. They throw people up in. I wanted to get your guys' opinion on the Michigan State, Penn State move to Ford Field. And I say that because I know, ML, you're a season ticket holder. So now you're down one less game. I would never want my team to go play at a neutral site. But as a college football fan, I'm pretty excited about this game that is going to be on Black Friday, 7:30 at night on NBC. Do you have any feeling about that? Does that bum you out? Would you rather that be at Spartan Stadium?
Well, I think your team did turn down a neutral site game because of they wanted to have a certain number of home games at Michigan Stadium.
The walk and talk.
So yeah, sorry, somebody's vacuuming upstairs.
That's impressive how you did that.
So they're not the only ones sucking here in the condo, but I mean, so I'll answer geographically. My head is not happy, my heart is not happy, but my feet sure as hell are happy because it gets cold in that damn stadium. It's during a break, so you often have a lot of kids who aren't there unless it's a really, really key game, and it's tough for the East Lansing businesses to lose all that commerce, but to have this team showcased on national TV on a night when everybody's going to be watching the Spartans, I think is great. I'm just concerned that these Spartans are not going to be able to put their best foot forward because Penn State looks pretty good. We're a big question mark. I think I read we have the second most difficult season or schedule in all of college football. And to end like this, depending on injuries and whoever our quarterback's going to be, you may see some Spartans limping into no bowl season, which does not put the program on the best footing. So if it was up to me, we wouldn't do it, but I do see advantages and disadvantages. And we have been told as season ticket holders, we will be able to buy tickets to that game. Whether it's as many tickets we have now or not, I don't know. But once again, this is money ruining college football, and I'm sick of it.
But is it ruining it? Because you said there were a lot of things about it that you liked.
But none of those reasons were the reasons they did it. They didn't do it because it's cold. They didn't do it because the students won't be there. They didn't do it because it would showcase the university. They did it because NBC said, you are going to do it.
But you know what? That is independent of NIL or paying players. They would do it to get as much money as possible, period.
But these TV contracts are ruining college football. We're getting more money in college football than ever before. In theory, a good thing. Except all that money stays within the program. They don't make $1 million from their TV contracts and say, guess what? Now we're going to allow underprivileged kids to go to this university on a full scholarship. They say, now we're going to pay our coach an exorbitant sum. Yeah. Now we're going to build amazing facilities. Now we're going to provide all these services for our athletes. Then we're going to claim they're underpaid and undercompensated. And then we're going to allow them to go say, I need to make $1 million because everybody else is making money off of me. How about we all just be part of this university and be a line item in the university budget where TV money brings in a shitload of money to Michigan State so we can do a lot of things for all the students. And we make sure that our athletes are treated well and set up for the future. Instead, it's just, we got more money. Let's spend more money.
Well, they have,
outrageous.
They have to spend that money to maintain this illusion that they're a nonprofit. I'd rather see the money go to those players, which a lot of them are, underprivileged and from poor areas.
Like Jameson, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think Hunter Dickinson's underprivileged, and he still went for the money. So, I mean, people are going to chase a dollar whether they're rich or poor,
exactly.
And it's college sports should not be all about the money. And if, to your point, they're trying to keep all the money in the program to maintain some sort of nonprofit or charity status, then change the status. The college sports should be college first, not sports first, and they are sports first. And I know arguing this makes me some old man who's trapped in another era, maybe like on an island where there are no cars. But I'm sick of seeing this special thing ruined by greed and by people who don't have anybody's best interests in mind except themselves. And
ML,
themselves in this case is NBC.
I feel like that's a lot of hyperbole. Do you really feel that
What do you expect on this show?
Not hyperbole. Do you really feel like the game is worse this past year or 2 years ago when they introduced NIL? Let's just use that as a marker. Do you think the game is worse now?
Absolutely, because I think Peyton Thorne and Keon Coleman came to Michigan State because they thought it was the best place for them to play, to get an education, to spend their college careers, and they're both gone because of money. Hunter Dickinson came from the Beltway area to Michigan, was really mad about it because he didn't get the respect he thought he deserved on the East Coast. So he came to Michigan because he thought it was the best place for him.
But a lot
and
of
it
people,
allowed him to showcase his talents and do well. And now he's left because he can get more money. But those are changes we've seen in just 2 years.
But before that, we've seen players move because, maybe I have a better chance of becoming a higher draft pick in the NFL or even making the NFL if I go to this school than the one I'm at. Isn't that chasing the money?
It wasn't such a free market back then, and I don't think. I mean, I'm sure you had coaches whispering, "Hey, if you want to start, you can come down to XYZ State. We got a spot for you. We could use a guy like that." There's no question that kind of stuff happened, but now it's just a free market. I don't like it. I'm sorry. I think it's ruining the sport.
But can we get back to the original question?
What?
Let's get back to the original question.
Which is?
Jameson Williams, cut him.
No, the Penn State Michigan State game. The Penn State Michigan State game. Excuse me, Mike. Michigan State Penn State game at Ford Field. Right. I'm going to quibble with you, Mark, a little bit here.
Sure.
It's not a neutral site game.
Oh yeah, it is.
It's no. You know what's a neutral site game? Michigan and Alabama at Jerry
Which
World.
was awful.
That's a neutral site game.
I went to that game. It was terrible. And I never want Michigan to do that.
Yeah,
again.
the Texas Stadium, the Cowboys Stadium. They host a big neutral site game. In fact,
why do you say this isn't a neutral site game? Because that game in Dallas was 80% Alabama fans. I mean, that could have been considered a de facto Alabama.
It's just
game.
that Alabama fans travel more differently. This isn't a neutral because the Michigan State season ticket holders are going to have an opportunity to buy tickets. But not only that, it's in Detroit. It's in the heart of the MSU's.
And where's Penn State really been recruiting hard lately?
No,
yes, somebody wrote about that. Four top recruits coming from Detroit to Happy Valley. Don't like that at all.
Yeah, but they're going to get those recruits anyway. They got that before this game. I mean, that's going to be 90% Michigan State fans. I would bet maybe 80. It's not going to be anywhere.
Penn State travels really well, Shawn, and I'll tell you, even for the last game of the season, you see a lot of Nittany Lions in the stands at Spartan Stadium. Sometimes it's embarrassing how many you see. That's a strong fan base.
You do, and if Michigan State's 3-7 and Penn State's 9-1 or whatever the records would be, then you'll see it'll be different for sure.
And it still is a neutral site game. I mean, the players. The routine is different than a home game, which is always.
It's like University of Wisconsin playing at the Packers Stadium or whatever. It's just, or playing if there's a football. I don't think there's a football stadium in Milwaukee. Maybe there is, but But it's something similar to that. It's not. It's still within the region and the heart of that school's fan base.
Do we know what the ticket allocation is? I mean, will Penn State be getting more tickets than they would for Spartan Stadium?
I wouldn't think so, because
No.
I think they are describing it like Shawn is, where they're acting like this is just
It's
a home game.
yeah.
But
I mean,
but it's not. It's just not.
But if Michigan State surprises people and they're pretty good, they'll have 9% of the fan base there. They just will, because that's how they're going to allocate, right?
Oh, sure. Well, and I think you will see more Spartans than Nittany Lions there, no doubt. And you may see more Spartans in Ford Field than you would have seen in Spartan Stadium if the Spartans are even having a bad year, because it's nice and warm, and they'll probably be selling beers.
And it's in the heart of the alumni base, right? I mean, it's not like Michigan, where the Michigan bases are all over the country. I mean, I know there are Spartan fan bases too, or alumni bases too.
Think about the Spartan fan base that, say, is in Grand Rapids, that goes to every home game in Lansing, right? I mean, I know it's not that much further, but still. I don't know.
How will John Spirit get there?
By bike. I understand why Spartan fans would be very upset, but I really understand. I feel bad for the small businesses who count on that home game every year for their budget. You know, that's, some people can say, oh, that's life, that's how it goes, but that really sucks for them, especially with this short of notice too. But
yeah, you're
it's
right.
Also
Normally,
it's also concerning that Alan Haller is saying this game, we won't lose money on this game. Like, we won't lose money on this game. I would think one of the reasons you do this is so that you can make a shitload of money.
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily all about money, though. I think it's. I mean, the way it was described, a little bit is it is, but more of a long game kind of financial decision, right? That has to do with the Big Ten's new commissioner and the relationship with NBC, right? It just, I don't know that it gets them any more money immediately.
Well, if their choice,
it gets NBC more money,
right? But not Michigan State.
Well, I'm going to jump forward then, because there was some feedback specifically directed at Shawn, but I think it kind of fits here. In this, let's see, Dan writes in, he said, since you're a sports columnist, he's directing this at you, Shawn, with kids at Michigan State, can you find time to speak to online gambling's impact on teen and 20-something-year-old boys? I mean, this is kind of what we're talking about with Jameson Williams, too. He wants to know, are you seeing it in your house? Could kids be hiding it from you as his kids were? I mean, this is something that has affected Dan personally. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Alan Haller, the Michigan State athletic director, getting into bed with Caesars Sportsbook back in January 2022. It's $1 million a year, $9 million partnership, and ending presumably because, let's see, Caesars is the official and exclusive sports betting partner and gambling partner of MSU Athletics. How many canvas gambling addicts did Haller help create over the last 16 months? This is a life-destroying addiction. This is not a minor misstep to him. My opinion, Haller should be fired because of this. He helped feed boys crack cocaine, and I mean that very sincerely. Instead, local media will tiptoe around this and let him walk it back like it was just a minor thing.
Okay. So what he is suggesting is that somehow the relationship with Caesars Sportsbook and Michigan State directly led to Michigan State students either downloading an app on their phone from Caesars Sportsbook or thinking, oh, I want to start gambling now because the university I attend or the university I graduated from or went to school at for a while.
Yes.
Has a relationship now, and I just don't buy that. I think it's already super easy, right? We're inundated with it everywhere in our society. And like I said, you pull your phone out and you can gamble if that's your thing.
And there are many, like you just said, there are so many places where you're going to see ads for it.
Yeah, and you can bet on all kinds of stuff, right? It's not, I mean, maybe you want to bet on your school. I don't know. Maybe you don't. Maybe it's not your sport.
But I think his question is, you know, this is a university, right? This is right where a lot of kids are under the age where you have to be to gamble legally. Is that irresponsible? No, we don't see booze. We don't see alcohol.
But you see it right outside the stadium.
No, I know, but it's not. We don't see Coors Light, the official beer of Michigan State Athletics.
No, which of course is ridiculous and hypocritical. And I'm not trying to come down.
Yeah, we don't drink Coors Light.
Well, no,
Bud Light. I'm sorry.
You're more of a natural light guy, which is cool.
It's Busch Light.
I'm more of a PBR guy. Well, but before it became a hipster
Joe
beer in the
Bell
90s,
back in the day.
I drink the PBR. Yeah, the Pabst with my dad, my best friend's dad, who was a truck driver in the 70s. So
See, I always drank Bud Light, but apparently we're not allowed to drink that anymore.
What about Miller? High Life.
Cancel.
Miller's gross.
Did you buy it at Target?
Huh?
Do you buy it at Target?
What a concept! I didn't even think about
I'm out.
that. But I understand what you're saying. You don't think it's the fault of the university because there are plenty of other
No,
vices
but
out
we
there
like to pretend. You go up to speaking of Spartan Stadium. You go to Spartan Stadium. What's surrounded it on a Saturday morning? 10 after 10 after 10, or canopy after canopy after canopy with all kinds of liquor and wine and beer. Probably not a lot of wine. But right, people are getting hammered. They allow alcohol on the campus.
But people are bringing that, and here's the distinction.
Yeah, but they're condoning. They're not banning it from the campus.
No, but the university also isn't endorsing it. I remember
they are because they make money from those tailgaters.
Gambling.
Wait, one second, Mike. Those folks would not. A lot of those folks would not come if they couldn't go get smashed before going to the
You're
game.
right. There's not.
They would not.
There's not a direct endorsement of it,
but it's absolutely
if
indirect.
they thought it was bad, then they would not allow it. Just like they don't allow drinking in.
They want those people in the stadiums, so of course they're going to let them drink. It's bullshit. I mean, I don't care, but I'm just saying for them to say on one hand over here, oh, we don't want this relationship, and to do it under the table or over here, that's what they're doing to me.
There's only one reason why you see those big banners in Spartan Stadium next to the scoreboard that say Caesars Sportsbook is the official sportsbook of Spartan Stadium. It's because the athletic department has become this insatiable beast that is consuming every resource that will come its way. It's because there's so much money in college sports, because there's too much money in college sports. They will take money from anybody just short of the devil, and maybe the devil just hasn't made a good enough offer yet, and that's what makes me sick about it, because you used to do everything you possibly could to keep even a discussion of gambling away from college athletes. It ruined careers. There's those kids in Toledo who were shaving points. The career ruined. Now he could be paid NIL money to sponsor a gaming website. That's obscene. It's just not right. And I do think these kids are vulnerable. And I hate these Jamie Foxx commercials where he's having so much fun making a movie. He stops to place a bet when Kevin Garnett or somebody's placing a bet, or any of our big influencers are doing this, because it leads kids to believe it's like the reason we banned cigarette and liquor ads from TV for a long time, because it looked so glamorous. The kids wanted to do it. It looked like it's what makes me an adult. Betting whenever you can seems like it's really cool because Jamie Foxx is really cool. Well, guess what? It's not really cool. And you can get carried away, and you're going to lose more often than you win. And if you got money to lose, so be it. But if you don't, and kids on campus generally don't have money to lose, and if they do have money, it's their parents' money, it makes me sick. I'm with Dan. I think it's terrible. I don't know whether Haller had a choice. I don't know if that contract was in place before he became the AD. But let's try and keep some of this crap away. You got
to learn to navigate it. To me, that's part of growing up. There are distinctions you make. You give a 16-year-old
like
a car.
Jameson Williams did.
You get a 16-year-old a car. You hope he's not driving 100 miles an hour, right?
Like
but we let them get out on the freeway.
It is far more,
which is a lot more
pervasive
problematic
today than it ever has been. You know, it feels like everybody is gambling now.
I remember gambling in middle school for a quarter or whatever, and through high school. It just wasn't official. It was like a lot of other things in society back then. It was all under the table.
I'm with you, and I'm really torn about this because I love gambling. I think it's great.
I don't care about gambling.
I personally am able to control it, and some people aren't. So the question is, do you make it easier and more accessible for those people who can't control it very well? Same with drugs in general,
or liquor,
right,
or anything that's potentially eventually dangerous in a society. No, I'm with you, and I have a tremendous sympathy for people that have addictions of various kinds, and we need to have systems in place.
But there are always going to be ways to gamble or to take drugs or to drink if you're underage. I mean, the question is, how easy and how accessible do you make it for everybody?
And you are going to see beer ads in these stadiums soon, too, because when they start serving, when we can buy beer in the stadiums, it's just a matter of time before there's a big old sign out there. And they're going to put in very small type, please drink responsibly.
Not sakes, man. Stadium. When I was a kid in Tokyo, they had vending machines on the streets that sold beer, and the kids there didn't abuse it. They just didn't
Except
do it.
when you got wasted and stole that moped.
That's their society. I don't know if that's still true.
It's a cultural thing.
That's exactly my point, though, right? It's where are we gonna put our emphasis on, and what are we gonna say as a society?
I fully think they should sell the booze inside because it's better than everybody binge drinking and then going inside instead of maybe managing a buzz throughout a game. People will just pile in as much booze as they can and then go in, which is far worse.
By the way, Dan, I've not seen it with my kids, but that doesn't mean it's not out there.
Sure. And I feel bad. I feel bad for them.
I know they play fantasy football and that's a form of gambling. It's a slow roll with a gamble, right? But you put your money in the pot and then, have fun through the fall and hope you win money at the end. But I don't think the money's why they do it.
Hey, one way to get money is by refinancing your house if you have a house.
That sounds like a great idea.
And I think I have just the guy to do that for you, and that would be David Hall and Hall Financial, right? It's springtime.
I was going to say, who, pray tell, are you speaking of? But it could only be one person.
Pray tell, knock it off. If you think it might be the time to buy a house, too, the first call you got to make is to Hall Financial because they have a lot of programs right now that can save you money off your rate or even help you with down payment assistance. They have a 1% down program with up to $4,000 in forgivable down payment assistance for qualified buyers. And once again, you can get equity if you got a house. If you have a lot of bills too, they can kind of bundle them and maybe get you a better rate. There's a lot of stuff Hall can do to help you organize your loans. So go to mlsolodetroit.com. You can click on the link to get started with Hall and their 5-star service, or you can simply call 866-CALL Hall and make sure you tell them that you heard it here from ML Elric and the Soul of Detroit. And with all that money you saved, maybe do a good investment, right? Some people want to call that gambling, but it's not as much gambling when you have somebody good on your side. And that person is Luke Nowacki, who knows the market. He loves numbers. This guy loves numbers, and he can figure out where to put your money because you got to grow your money or else it doesn't grow, and then inflation goes by, and it's just a mess. So get your finances and your future goals, get them all in a row. What do they say? Ducks in a row? Ducks in a line? What's the saying? You guys are writers.
Synced up swans, I think. Is
sync
what
up
the
your
term
swans.
is.
There you go. Call Luke Nowacki, 248-663-4748 for a free consultation to see what he can do with you. Once again, 248-663-4748.
Because he can't get your car in Mackinac Island, but he can make it all about you, sweetheart.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through Royal Alliance Associates Inc. Member FINRA SIPC. Royal Alliance Associates Inc. is separately owned, and other entities and/or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent of Royal Alliance Associates Inc.
And finally, a big shout out. See, we'll take ads from bars and restaurants. And the Caju Cafe, they're the pride of the East Side. If you're looking for live music and possibly our fearless leader, ML Elric, the Caju is the place to go. Do you have your own stool there? Do you have your own Cliff Clavin stool?
I like to work around and take my talents throughout the vast facility. There's good places to eat and drink inside, outside. There's feather bowling. There's my favorite spot, the Garage Bar. But there's no wrong place to be at the Caju Cafe. The only wrong place to be is not at the Caju Cafe.
Shawn, can't you see him being like a Cliff Clavin, just sitting there spouting facts about things people don't care about?
I can, kind of slumped over. He stands like a question mark sometimes, right? So I think that'd be
so tall.
Yeah, exactly. He is very handsome.
Look for ML at the Caju. Wednesdays is karaoke. Thursdays it's Billy Brandt and the Sugarees, John Hulk and the Sequins. Wow, there's a lot of stuff going on. Friday there's music too. Liz Laren returns Saturday. More music, it's Cover Boy and Before the Food, which is Before the Flood, I'm sorry. See, I messed it up too, ML, just like you.
I was waiting for you to get Eric Grobel's Sunday Fun Day, Jamboree, Hootenanny party like your Jameson Williams on Jameson.
You nailed it. And every Monday, Open Blues Jam and Muscle Madness, all you can eat mussels. For more information on all of it, you can click the link on our site or just simply visit cajucafe.com.
Oh man, the geeks have inherited the earth.
Did I do that?
What a dork.
Does him wanting to play with us again mean that he's turning into a geek, or we're turning into cool guys?
Shawn, did you come up with a Geek of the Week?
No, you said you did.
Oh.
It's not my thing.
I just wanted to see if you came up with one.
No, I don't.
I came up with two. I'll let you choose one.
Okay. God, it's not my thing, but go ahead.
The first one, it's just, this seems to happen all too often. Maybe this is a cop out by saying all politicians in the legislation and executive branch of this government for the whole debt ceiling pissing match that we just had, so they could all come out and claim victory over each other while they kind of hold the whole country hostage, wondering if we're going to default on loans as a country and send us spiraling into a recession.
So the federal government's the geek of the week?
That was one way I'm leaning, specifically Biden and McCarthy.
All right, what's
who are
the
now
other?
Heroes. The other is more specific. It's the Florida mom.
Mike? No.
Is he from Florida?
Did we lose
Is he a
Mike?
mother? No, he's still here.
Okay, good.
Are you bored, ML?
He's going to pull. He's going to pull a Drew and run upstairs.
I'm warming up in the bullpen in case I'm called upon to provide geeks.
No, it's a mom down in Florida, and she made the complaint about that Amanda Gorman, who is I don't know how old she is now, but she did the Biden inaugural poem that bored us all to death. Well, anyway, it was in an elementary school, and she complained about it. So now it is a restricted book in Florida. And the reason I have a problem with her and why she's my geek of the week is because she admits that I don't even read the poem. I only read one part, and that's the part I didn't like, and I responded to it. But because they have a law down there where they're very conscious of talking about race and ethnicity, that the book has been pulled. And she said, this is a direct quote, "I'm not an expert. I'm not a reader. I'm not a book person. I'm a mom involved in my children's education." And this is just a divide we see in the country now where for my kids' education, I want them to be exposed to as much stuff as possible, and then we can have a discussion about it, as opposed to banning stuff, making it seem taboo, which for me, when I was a kid, if something was taboo, I was more interested in learning about it. And I just hate the fact that she admits, I'm not a reader, I'm not a book person, so I don't want anybody to read this book, whatever the book may be. John?
Taboo is my favorite character on Fantasy Island.
That was Tattoo, jerk.
Oh.
Is that not a good? You don't like my geek of the week?
I like
choices?
that. I like that.
I got no response.
I do like it.
For you.
I was waiting for Mike to respond. Sorry.
This mother also had to deny that she knew any of the Proud Boys because she's in photos with Proud Boys and she had an anti-Semitic post. So now it's kind of, she's almost getting doxxed. But it's like, just can we all maybe relax and stop banning things or making laws to ban things?
What part didn't she like? What part didn't she like? Did she say?
I don't know. I'm not a book person. I don't read.
With the exception of me, I think it's a good rule that if you really don't like things and people, it usually means you're a terrible person yourself.
I like the way he said, with the exception of me. By the way, I'm
just sick of banning a lot of things.
As I noted at the top of the show, I'm sitting in Mike's seat. I just accidentally put my lips on the microphone. Does that mean that Mike and I just kissed?
No, because I used it last, so now it makes me ill.
Okay.
Sure. Hard
Gross.
out.
Gross.
There's an all-night party in room 7609. And you can dance together all night if you've got the time.
I'm very excited for this room 7609.
Because Drew's back?
Drew is back.
No longer bored?
He loves music. I wanted him to pick the new wave deep cut. Is that how you explain it, ML? Who's still here?
I am. I
thought you had to be somewhere at noon.
Undiscovered gems.
I didn't know he was going to be present for this.
No, he was supposed to be gone at noon. No. We can't get rid of him.
I'm leaving now. My presence is neither appreciated nor wanted. And it makes me feel like I'm back home.
Well, I'm going to get busted immediately.
No, you're not.
Okay.
You want me just to disconnect him?
Can you play? Maybe. I don't think he's going to like my pick.
Oh, he's going to hate it.
We'll love it.
Sean's going to love it.
Can you play a little piece of Al Green's Take Me to the River? Al Green wrote this song back in the early 70s. It's a great, beautiful song. And if you don't love Al Green, I don't think you've heard Al Green. ML, you'd agree with that, wouldn't you?
Al Green is awesome. In fact, I just was reading something about Cat Stevens. He wrote a song that, I can't remember the name of it now, that so many more people have turned into
The First Cut
hit.
is the deepest. The first
Yes, that's it.
Yes, he wrote it.
I never knew Cat Stevens did that.
I didn't either. I just found that out myself. This is Al Green.
Love you like I do. After all the changes that
Little
you
funky
put me
R&B.
through. Used all my money and my cigarettes.
Well,
and I haven't seen how to have you yet.
wait for the hook.
I wanna know, won't you tell me?
Sean, are you in?
Oh, I love Al Green. This is the best song we've ever played in the show.
There it is.
Take me to the river. Wash me down.
Well, when I first got into new wave music at WVT in Blacksburg, Virginia, the student station, one of the first tracks I just fell in love with was the Talking Heads version of Take Me to the River, which is so absolutely 180 degrees
Talking
different.
Heads?
I knew we were going to have talking heads. I knew
Oh
it.
my
There's no
God. And I
escape.
didn't do it. This is unbelievable.
It
Fabulous.
also has a really long intro, so we can talk over it. ML can object if his mic is still up. What
so
an
mad.
incredible version of this. And the live version might be even better. David Byrne and Talking Heads, Take Me to the River, room 7609.
Don't know why I love it like I do. All the changes you put me through. Take my money, my cigarettes. I haven't seen the worst of it, and I wanna know, can you tell me I love to stay? Take me to the river, drop me in the water. Take me to the river, dip me in the water, wash me down.
What an excellent choice.
That's just the best choice ever. But somehow Mike knew that would be the choice. Maybe not that specific song, but that band.
He almost willed it as such. And I got to tell you,
and it didn't come from me, Mark.
It didn't come from Shawn. It didn't come from me. All I asked Drew was, hey, do you want to do 7609? And he picked that song, and I just started laughing because I knew how much Shawn would enjoy it. I knew how much you would hate it. And frankly, I just love that song. I think I like it better than the Al Green version.
I think I do, too.
Do you really? More than the Al Green version?
I do. Sometimes I like the original, like Gladys Knight and the Pips with, I heard it through the grapevine.
Grapevine, yeah. As
compared to Marvin Gaye's, which I love Marvin Gaye's too, but Gladys Knight and the Pips just has this sort of...
I prefer the California Raisins version.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was nice.
Do you know any of that?
The California Raisins, you took that wore the sunglasses?
In the mid-'80s, yeah, when they covered it.
Do you remember the Far Side cartoon and the somebody's eating the California Raisins and spitting out the sunglasses?
No, that's great. That was my first exposure to that song, though, was the California Raisins. I'm like, oh, wait, this is a real song?
I just remember a whole pile of sunglasses and they're spitting them. It's such a subversive thing.
Thoughts, ML?
I can never leave.
Okay.
The minute I turn my back, the Talking Heads enter the room.
Wait till you're in Scotland.
I know. We got to pick 2 more Talking Head songs.
We're not taking a break at all? Or are we filling in for the next 2 weeks?
Yeah. And we have
he gets to take a break, but we don't? Is that how it works?
Well, I've taken a break. But
this is some break.
It's a working
I'm
break.
submitting the mileage.
We will have a different special guest next week, too. Is that a tease? It's a good tease.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, no, that's a great treat. That's a great tease. Great song. Thank you.
I know we did one piece of feedback earlier, but there is some more here. Wow, this one's from Susan Wang. I know we had a Susan Wang listening to us. Hello. I've always liked what you've shared on Facebook, but we are not friends. I tried to send your friends request, but I did not succeed. Do you mind trying it from you? I am happy to be friends with you. If you think this information is embarrassing, please forgive me. Thanks. That's the kind of feedback we get. Spam from Susan Wang.
Yeah, I think the 3 Wangs in the studio right now are enough.
I know a person, and I swear I get emails from this person's email account that says, hey, here's that photo you sent me. I can't open it. Click on this link. A total phishing scam. And this person repeatedly clicks on stuff that sends out these emails, and I don't know how to get them to stop doing it. And his last name is Mazaway.
Oh, jeez.
I don't know why he's getting phished so much and clicking on these links, but I don't know.
Perhaps if you put some free tickets in his hand, he wouldn't be able to manipulate the keyboard.
He'll find a way to always be on his phone. You know that. We got an apology last week from, I can't remember his name, the one who sent me the whole box score about the soccer game from Sheffield Wednesday.
Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah, and
by the way, that was voted one of the best games of the season by the soccer folks at the Guardian.
Oh, really?
So he's not alone in admiring that performance on the pitch.
Yeah, a comeback when you're down 4-0 on aggregate. That's pretty impressive. I don't know if that means anything to anybody else, but because he said, I didn't think my box score report would make the podcast. I was just reaching out to fellow soccer fans, which, that's what it's like when you're a fan of something and you look for anybody to talk to about it. For me, it usually happens with TV because I watch a lot of TV shows and I can't get anybody else to talk to me about them.
Excuse me.
Well, you don't watch Barry, which just wraps.
But I'm going to watch it. So we can talk about it.
Have you watched Bad Sisters?
I have.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Did you like that?
I did.
Bad Sisters is on Apple TV Plus.
I love Sharon Horgan.
Yes.
She's fabulous.
Yeah, and she was the executive producer of this show, and it's about 5 sisters that are very, very tight, and one of them has I've described this person as the worst character in TV history. The husband, JP.
Oh.
In the opening scene, you know that he's dead, and there's flashbacks and flash forwards as to
Mummy.
Why did he die? He is the worst character on television. Now, the youngest sister, I think the character's name is Megan, has a very famous father. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
That's Bono's daughter.
Oh, yeah, I did know that. I did know that.
And there's another character on there, one of the investigators for the insurance, who has a very famous father as well, in Brendan Gleeson. who I know all three of us love Brendan Gleeson.
No, absolutely. By the way, Sharon Horgan is in another show called Catastrophe, which is really fun. Have you seen that?
I have not. She's in the Increasingly Poor Decisions of Todd Margaret. Very underrated comedy.
Yeah, no, just look up most things she's in. She's great.
See, I'm glad I found someone to talk to about that show, but I find that it happens.
Love Bad Sisters. Mike's not watched it? I would assume he's
too new.
Little known fact, the original name of this podcast was going to be Catastrophe, but it was already taken.
How long have you been sitting on that one?
At least
you only
minutes.
mentioned it 8 seconds ago.
3
so
minutes?
Pretty fast.
3 minutes?
ML, where can everybody send feedback to?
ML Soul of Detroit at gmail.com. That's MLSOULOFDETROIT at gmail.
And while you're online, feel free to go to the website, mlsolodetroit.com, to send a donation. Bryant sent a very, very generous one to which we described him in glowing terms, and he wrote back, bedrock pillar and an angel. Ugh. How about just grateful fan? Keep up the work, fellas. So thank you, Bryant. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the listeners and the sponsors. So once again,
and Michael sent some dough too. What? We appreciate that.
Oh, he did?
He did send some dough. It was supposed to be, if I'm matching up the donation with the Facebook post, it's supposed to be used specifically and explicitly for beer, and I'm proud to say that I have already undertaken that endeavor.
And
with alacrity.
Just you.
Well, I try.
So the beer was just for you, Mark? Is that what's happening here? It was just for Mike?
I guess so.
Okay.
And one final notice. This is the show notes sent from AI. We used AI for the show notes today, Sean. Let's see how this went. Sean is late. Sean wants the show to wrap up. Sean doesn't like the song. Sean has to pee. Sean says nothing interesting on Carlos and Sean this week. Now, I got to say, AI is wrong because technically you were on time. You haven't complained about the show not wrapping up. You did like the song, and you didn't go upstairs to pee. So
what's the difference this week?
He's not here.
Oh, I didn't want to say that.
This is the opposite of Sean.
Wait a second. He brought in the Carlos.
He did. What do you guys talk? What's going on with the Carlos and Sean podcast this week?
Oh, probably some Tigers. How about that?
What a salesman!
It's fabulous.
Are you on board with these?
There were 6 minutes of Tigers talk last week. Apparently, some restaurants closing or something.
Yeah, Carlos wanted to talk about Angelo's last week. I couldn't escape it. He texted me before the podcast and he said, "I've got the menu ready. I've got a bunch of questions." Oh my God,
that Angelo's column is the gift that keeps on giving.
Well, I didn't. Yeah,
I know, not because of you, but just in general.
It was, and people should. It really was a good episode, and not just because my athletic prowess was referenced on several occasions, but because it felt to me like listening to our show.
You mean the back and forth and so forth?
No, I mean it's like one guy takes over and just keeps talking about something, and it's like, okay, we need to move on to something else, and then somebody says something, says, okay, I don't want to keep talking about that other subject, but I do need to mention one more thing.
Yeah,
it goes on
I took a break, Mark. I took a break, wrapped up that segment, but there was one last thing I wanted to say, so I started the next segment with it, and then I went on to the Tigers.
Yeah, who does that here?
Yeah, exactly.
The irony was as delicious as anything ever served at Angelo's.
No, it was a problem because I didn't want to really talk about Angelo's at all, and but I'm the one that wrote the column.
40 minutes later.
I'm the one that cooked there, and he kept asking questions, and yeah.
Well, the other thing AI said is that Sean tries to summon Cyrus, so that hasn't happened yet either.
So this is all Mike just feeding in notes, right?
No, but it was also a cue for you to summon Cyrus.
No, it's AI.
Wait a second.
And this is a hopeful note for us because AI is not infallible.
Well, you are, right? So, and you're AI, so that's
there's a difference between AI and ML.
That's kind of a metaphysical, little fun meta thing there. No, we want to summon Cyrus, but can we just say can we thank Mike real quick for joining us from the road?
A lot longer than I thought you were going to be. So thank you.
No, that was fun. Thanks for hanging around and
enjoy your time.
Blessing you with blessing us. Thank you.
Do guests of ML Soul of Detroit still get a 12-pack of Altus?
Are you technically a guest?
Yep. ML Elric will deliver that to you.
Yeah.
Oh, on a bike.
On a bike up in Mackinac.
All right. Good luck up there, man.
Bike lent to me by my good friend Louie, the king of Mackinac Island. So always nice
There's
to.
a plug. Did you get it for free?
Louis is this guy knows Great Turtle Island like the back of his hand.
What was the question?
No, just say, does he get it for free?
That wasn't the question.
This bike is ready for any situation.
Do I need to send you an air check of that so you get the bike for free?
Possession is 9/10 of the law.
Hey, my man, thanks for joining us. Have a great time in Scotland, right?
In a couple of weeks, I'll be heading off where we're going to celebrate my 25th anniversary. One of us is going to celebrate it, and
just gonna ask that.
It's going to be a great time for me, and a lot of bartenders, and I'll be checking in. But
look forward to
thanks
that.
Everybody for listening. Thanks for Drew for sitting in. Hopefully, we've introduced some people. This Drew Lane fellow, if you haven't heard him before, he's got his own podcast.
Yeah, he's going places.
The Drew and Mike podcast is pretty good.
Sounds great, my man. It was fun today, and we'll talk to you. He's going to check in from Scotland, right, Mark?
Yeah, we're going to make him.
All right. We look forward to that check-in. Until then, Mark, this was a blast. Who do we need to talk to? Cyrus. Take us out.
Can you dig that?
Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
All those who have discovered the island have never been seen again. The Island. The super thriller from the author of
The Kwame Sutra.
The Island.
Only on the Soul of Detroit.